Hello, ladies, gents, boys and girls, welcome back into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and welcome back into the TFDi MD-11F. We're sat on the ground here at Anchorage as FedEx 5161 with service down to Memphis, Tennessee. Flight time 5 hours 35 minutes. Should be cruising at 31,000 feet initially, then stepping up to 36 later in the flight. Taking 54 tons of fuel, 4 passengers, of course, because we are cargo. Departing off of 7 left here in Anchorage and arriving onto 36 left into Memphis. It's got all the makings of a terrific flight in the MD-11. We're going to be heavy departing out of here, so it'd be nice to see the performance and the handling characteristics of the MD-11. So without further ado, let's jump into the flight deck and get everything set up for today's service. So, welcome into the flight deck of the McDonnell Douglas MD-11. It's very early morning here in Anchorage, Alaska. Let's jump into the captain's seat and we'll load the EFB up firstly, if I can get the click spot. Thank you very much. And the power can be put on by putting the battery on. And then the external power. And how do I turn the light off? Is it L by any chance? Yes, it is. Right, okay. Overhead flows, we'll get some lights on first before we do anything. And that looks good to me. So we'll jump up into the overhead panel and we're going to do a fault and fire test.
Engine 1, fire. Engine 2, fire. Engine 3, fire.
Lovely. And cargo test. And the IRSs can be popped on. All the wonderful and wacky sounds of the MD-11 coming alive there. We get the cargo temperature can be low. Don't know what we're carrying today. Don't need that on. We get the nav and logo light on. And before we can get anything else done, we'll do a overhead light test. And we'll reset the fuel flow. And that is the overhead panel complete. So, jumping down into the FMC. Let's just make sure we just get a bit of lighting on the glare shield first. I don't want too much lighting. I quite like it being dark in the flight deck. So we've got FMS, flight plan. Initialize IRS so that can start. I will send to FMC. Check data base cycle. It's nav data upgrade today, so hopefully there's no waypoints missing. We are Federal Express 5161, and we're going to be cruising at an initial cruising altitude of 31,000 feet. We'll leave that at 31, and then it's going to be a minus 46, that's correct, and it's going to be a slash positive 64 tailwind all the way there, pushing us down. So it's quite a nice flight time for Anchorage to Memphis, actually. Cost index is 20. Alternate today is KBNA, and that is the flight plan in it complete. And we can now let's start looking at the flight plan itself. So we'll go flight plan, departure, SID. It's going to be 7 left from Anchorage. It's not give us a SID though, which is worrying me. So I'll have a look on flight radar shortly and see what actual runway they're departing off. Firstly, let's cage the secondary standby here. And it's not giving us a SID, but what we can do first is get GSX boarding started. So we have 7 left and we'll have a look at what it's giving us. So it's giving us the Anchorage 1, the Fitz 4, the Potters 3 and the Knick 3. So let's have a look at what they look like in the EFB. So Anchorage, that might be the one we need. Insert. It's not giving us any additional SIDs or anything. It's just going to give us, I think it's just vectors after departure. I'll have a quick look on flight radar, but firstly we're going to get Memphis star 36 left is what we're going for. ILS 36 left, and it's going to be on the barbecue 3 via Igloo with the Western transition insert, and we'll go through the plan mode. So it's vectors after departure. Okay, that looks good there. And then the arrival is set up correctly. I did that thing with the JSON file to get the waypoints to match up correctly. Let's have a look though at the taxi instructions. So for 7 left, oh, it's just simply down all the way to the end, cross runway, and then get on 7 left. So we'll line up the headings. 074 degrees. And we'll just have a look. So we might actually okay, so that's not off the runway we're departing off of. So we actually can't use that SID. The Anchorage 1. So let me have a check on flight radar and see what it's saying for the real world operations there. And it looks like they are departing off of 3-3. And that will be on the, we'll take the, is it the, not that one, the other one, that one there, the NORAD 4 RNAV, with no additional SID. And we'll go flight plan, and we'll go plan, and see, that already looks a lot better. Yeah, look at that. Right, so 3-3 is the runway they're using in real life to depart, and 07 right is the real runway they're using to arrive. So that makes a lot more sense. So that's all plugged in there. So I'm happy with how we've done that. Troubleshooted the no SID. We'll get the APU power on, which will start the APU. And we'll go into dispatch and we'll set payload and fuel, which it has done. And then we'll go into init reference and next page. And from there we can go block fuel 53.2, that's correct. I don't need to take any extra, that's giving us quite a lot of extra fuel to get to KBNA, and we are in kilograms. And we'll go rest of the weights, which are in correctly as well. And we'll go next page, and we don't need to do any of that. We're going to take off on performance, and then we'll jump into the kindly provided performance calculator. In the departing runway 33, insert the weather and get the takeoff weight, and we're going to calculate. It's giving us flaps 20, 54 degrees, selected temperature 162,172. So we get flaps 20 selected first, so we don't forget that. We can't set the trim until the hydraulics are pressurised, so we'll have to wait until we've got 3 good engines to do that. And we are going to go 20 on the flap with a selected temperature of 54. It's going to be 0.3, and it's going to be a +1. And the outside air temperature is -10 degrees, bit chilly. And we'll confirm the VSID 150, 162, 170. Those are all correct with the EFB, which is nice to see. So we'll get 172 plugged in on the MCP. We'll go back to the charts and we'll get the departure and just see what the top altitude of the SID is, and we'll plug that in, and that is the pre-flight complete, and we are getting APU power on and the bleed, and we'll get the external power off and arm the emergency power, and that is the setup complete. We're just going to wait for engine to start when GSX is configured loading. Welcome back into the flight deck. We are now ready for engine start. So we're going to get ignition A on, beacon light on, packs will come off automatically. We'll go and get the engines ready now. So starting number 3, as the checklist does state. So I'm following, if you want to know how I set up the aeroplane, I followed the included TFDi MD-11 checklist, but I do have a tutorial on how to do an A to B flight in this aeroplane on the channel. Nice engine start sounds there. Engine number 3 is alive and kicking. So let's just wait for it to start rolling back and stabilise before we pull engine number 2. And we'll wait to throw the fuel in. Beautiful. So engine number 2 is starting, which of course is the tail mounted engine. And we can disconnect the GPU and chocks as well. Forgot to do that a minute ago. We'll just leave it on the taxi instruction page there. I've just heard the click of the engine ignition starter releasing, so that's engine number 2 starting nicely. And like before, I'll wait until rollback before continuing engine start with number 1. And engine number 1 to pull, and we'll have a nice wing view for this engine start as well. So it looks like we've got 3 good engine starts. Now it's a taxi off stand, so we're just going to make a left-hand turn after rolling off from here, and then it's another left-hand turn and follow the runway all the way down to the hold point. We'll go full length runway 33, departing So, APU power, or APU bleed off, packer can come on, we'll get taxi lights on. We'll go down and we'll get the speed brakes armed, if you can find the click spot. Thank you very much. And we'll go flaps to 20, and we'll trim accordingly. So there's the trim set, and we'll go to config, and we have 20 selected, 20 indicated, and flight control check. So we'll go full right, we've got green, full left, we've got green again, full forward, we've got green, full back, green, now for the rudders, full left, green, and full right, green. All flight controls are free and correct. We will get the turn-offs on. Parking brake is already released. Beautiful. Right. Start taxiing away. And we've got a green bar indicated at the bottom of the engine page, which means we have completed everything correctly, and we'll arm the autopilot and we'll go nav and profile so we get the correct guidance after we push the thrust levers into the takeoff clamp position. And we'll get away hot and heavy. It'll be quite a long takeoff roll. We are really heavy. Still trying to get used to taxiing this aeroplane. It needs quite a bit of thrust to get moving, which I suppose is realistic considering how heavy this bloody aeroplane is at the moment in time. And I forgot to put the seatbelts on, we'll put that on now. And it's just a left-hand turn here, and we'll follow it all the way down to the hold point for runway 33. Right, so we get the high intensities on, which are your strobes and the rest of the lights. We are ready for departure. We've still got the green box down there, so we are fully configured correctly. Weather radar is on. I've got terrain on the first officer's side. So let's go flying, shall we? First real test of the MD-11 on the channel. We've done a review of the aeroplane, a tutorial flight, and now it's time to take it on its inaugural first proper service. And this is a long haul. It's a real life flight, well, before they were grounded, but it used to do Memphis to Anchorage and back, or it does the other flight I know it does is Newark to Anchorage, but I wanted to fly into Memphis because we rarely do Memphis, so it's nice to change it up a little bit. And we haven't been to Anchorage in a very long time. I think the last time we were here was in the old MD-11 in 2020. So of course this is the Ted Stevens International by Sim Wings. You can purchase this on the Aerosoft store. I purchased it in the Microsoft Flight Simulator store. Right, so that lineup looks pretty okay there. Spool them up. And slowly advance the thrust levers. Release that parking brake. And we have takeoff clamp. Thrust is set. Airspeed's alive. There's V1. And coming up to rotate. Slowly does it. Watching that tail. You can feel how heavy the aeroplane is. Airborne. Look at that. Positive rate. We're going to gear up. And we have nav. That rotation felt really good. Really nice. Look at that. Goodbye, Anchorage. So following the flight director guidance after departure, we're going to get some engine anti-ice on. No ice detected, but are we in some cloud, or is Microsoft Flight Simulator drawing the clouds a bit funny again? We'll turn it off. It's saying there's no ice detected, so we don't need it. And we're nice and trimmed out, so we go autopilot on. As we climb away from Anchorage, nose is going to pitch down now as we accelerate. And just watching that speed, max 230 knots for the first couple of turns. So we'll go flaps up, we'll keep the leading edge slats extended though. Those are the trailing edge flaps 20 coming in. That looks pretty good down there. And it's going to start that right hand turn now. So I'm assuming it keeps 230 knots. So we get a better climb performance with slats out, because there is some terrain just off our nose shortly. Disarm the speed brake and the auto brake as well. And we're going to get the taxi light off. We don't need that anymore. Do we need the ignition for the whole flight? Probably. Look at that. Gorgeous. Always wanted to visit Alaska. It's on the bucket list. That would be chasing that sun all the way down to Memphis, and then when we get to Memphis it's probably going to be in a late evening / night arrival, depending on how quick we get down there. So you got some terrain off. We should be above it though in a second. And it's looking nice so far. So we're speeding up, so we'll pop the slats in, clean up the aeroplane. After takeoff checklist is complete, and we are now climbing nicely out of Anchorage. That was a pretty successful departure. It's going very well so far. This aeroplane is a joy to fly. I don't know what it is about the MD-11, but when you do a flight in it, you feel like you've accomplished something really good. It's such a handful, the aeroplane is. Just got to try and stay on top of it. But once you do tame it, it's a very, very nice aeroplane. Very nice aeroplane indeed. Just look at that sky in front of us. Absolutely gorgeous.
Stabilizing motion.
Lights can come off now. And we just need the high intensity and beacon on. And we are climbing away nicely. That's pretty much everything, guys. I'll leave you with some climate cruise highlights, and I'll see you in exactly 5 hours 10 minutes when we should be descending into Memphis, Tennessee. Hello and welcome back into the sim. It's late evening now in Memphis and we're descending, still on 3.6 left, arriving, and the TFDi MD-11 has handled the flight expertly. We step climbed up to 36,000 feet halfway through the flight, and we started our initial descent about 20 minutes ago. Weather down in Memphis is quite nice. It's not too windy. And it's a nice temperature actually. I've been landing on 3.6 left and taxiing straight down into the FedEx terminal, or the cargo ramp. Landing flap 35, and as you can see in front of us, downtown Memphis has been loaded in, and the night lighting in Microsoft Flight Simulator Sim Update 4 is looking absolutely wonderful. So everything's set up for the arrival. We've got the final approach speeds plugged in to the FMC. It's a little bit like an Airbus where you have to click what flap setting you're going to, and we've elected for flap 35 with medium auto brake. Should do the job quite nicely for us. Landing onto 3.6 left. In a second we're going to start our initial downwind leg, and then at a point when I feel comfortable to, probably about 10-15 miles out from the ILS, we'll vector ourselves onto a, like I said, 10-15 mile final. Lights can come on now as we're about to approach 10,000 feet. And I'll tell you what, with that clear sky and sunset in the sky looks really nice with the lighting. And we'll get the turn-offs on as well. Beautiful. And the logo light can come on. Airplane's pitching down. And we're going to go probably just be below. And there's the airport there. So it wants us at 210 on this turn in a minute. So we'll probably have to go flat 15 for that. You have to be really careful when flying the MD-11. The speeds do catch you out. You can start configuring flaps at 280 knots. So you can go to slats position 1 at 280. And then below 250 knots you can go flap 15. As the lighting's gone really dark all of a sudden. The sun must be setting behind us as we go into this cloud. We'll set the minimums though quickly, which I forgot to do. For the ILS 3.6 left. And there you go, speed's coming back to 210 knots. So let me just figure out the minimums, which is set. And we will go flaps position 1, which is just the leading edge slats. Look how fast they come out. Beautiful. And we'll go flat 15 to maintain 210 knots. There's the airport. So 160 knots is our approach speed. So that is really fast for this aeroplane. Well, not fast, it's not the fastest I've had. I did a max landing weight test a couple of days ago to see how the aeroplane handled when I was doing my landing practices, and I think my final approach speed was 172 knots with the wind. So it just shows you how fast this aeroplane is, and what that means is your picture outside looks different to usual, and you need to watch your inputs. It's very easy to overcorrect in this aeroplane because you're coming in so fast. You got to start that flare at 50 feet. Any later, and it's not going to be the nicest or smoothest arrival. minimum or the maximum time you can leave it to is 40 feet. Anything past 40 feet and you're gonna feel it the next morning. So we'll see how I do. I haven't flown this plane in about a week since being on holiday, so it's a strange sensation when coming in to see how high of a pitch you've got on that nose. But in all fairness, the tail clearance on this aeroplane is quite good, so it's very unlikely that you're going to tail strike unless you do something stupid and yank it all the way back. All's looking good so far though, and it's really nice to have the MD-11 back in the sim. Been missing this aeroplane quite a lot, and the job they've done with the new art update, flight model, ground handling, it's a real treat to fly, and it's slowly becoming one of my favourite aircraft in a Microsoft Flight Simulator. And hopefully very soon there'll be some more new aircraft coming out. The Tolis Aerosoft collaboration A340 looks very close. My next video after this will probably be a news video on a roundup of the month's news, as quite a lot has happened since my last news video. It's been quite a hefty one. So everything's looking good still so far. We're going to start turning shortly. We've got 4,000 feet set in. We're not going to go all the way to Watson. We're going to cut in. I'm not doing the whole 20-mile final. We'll probably do that in real life because this airport is so busy with all the year-round FedEx traffic. This is the FedEx big hub, isn't it, in America. UPS has Louisville, Kentucky, and FedEx has Memphis, Tennessee. We'll go direct to that waypoint then, and we'll slow down. We'll extend the rack descent, sorry, just to keep on glide. Once it's mandatory 4,000 at this waypoint. Start slowing down a little bit to 190 knots and we'll pull speed. So as you can see, when I'm manipulating the autopilot, it's a toss-up between Boeing and Airbus. It really is. The plane is like nothing I've ever flown before. It flies like a Boeing with a yoke, but it's got an old Airbus FMC. It's got an auto throttle like a Boeing, but autopilot functions like an Airbus. So it's very strange. What we'll do is we'll continue our descent down to 3,000 just so it doesn't level off. Yeah, it's really weird, this aeroplane. A lot of it was ahead of its time, but a lot of it is older technology. Like the VNAV isn't the best. In real life anyway. In the sim it's pretty good, it'll handle most restrictions. So turning on to final now, flat 15 still. The plane is very draggy, so don't be afraid. You could leave it, and actually you could probably do something similar in the 7.3 like Ryanair do, where you leave it until 4 miles to fully configure. Now, I'm going to do it earlier, but this aeroplane, because you've got such a high speed, approach speed, it gets down to it quite quickly, and before you know it, you're already at your final approach speed. So let's just vertical speed to finesse, and we have got localizer alive, glide slope alive, lovely. We'll spin that to 5,000 for the go round, and we are now nicely located on the localizer and glide slope at the same time. It's exactly what you want in this aeroplane. And look at that scene in front of us with the city. Perfect. I've got beautiful FPS as well. A little bit of a crab on. As the sun starts to set. Timed it perfectly for this approach. Just can't stop looking at those wing views, they're unreal. So let's match up the headings. So it's 000 degrees for my heading, and we've got gear down, flap 28, match speed. So you've got huge flaps on this aeroplane as well. And we'll go flaps full. We actually don't need to do that, we can just get FMS speed because we're in approach mode, and the aeroplane will descend or use its own VAP speed that we've programmed in and maintain that for us. So we've added 5 knots, so we're landing at 165 now. I always like to add 5 knots. It's just, it helps with the flare a little bit. Right. Taxi light can come on now. All the lights are on. Landing checklist has been completed. We've got flaps 35 and speed brake on. We've got the green box. So I'll disconnect my aeroplane. Feet on the rudder pedals. Let's do some hand flying. So remember, 50 feet, start the flare, and you need a lot more back pressure than you think in this aeroplane. And you want to keep the speed up as much as possible because it's got a slow, it's got a small rudder surface, so the slow speeds it doesn't become as reactive as you would like it to on other aeroplanes like the 73 and the 320 and even the A300. Nice and stable. We've got a headwind and a crosswind.
400.
That wind's kicking up a little bit. Continue.
10.
Down we are. Speed brakes are up, reverses are now green. Bit of a thumper, but we'll take that. Maintaining centre line. Nose is coming down nicely. You have to really concentrate when landing this aeroplane. It's a real handful and flies like nothing you'll ever fly or you've ever flown before. Right, speed brakes can come in, reverses are stowed, quarter brake disarmed. We can take this exit to our right and welcome down safely to Memphis, Tennessee in the MD-11. Handled that flight superbly, didn't it? It was unbelievable. What a lovely aeroplane. We'll get the lights off now, as we don't need them. And we'll pop the flaps in. Very nice. We're now vacated safely off the runway, clear of any traffic. We're not on line anyway today because it was a long haul, and because I'm doing this UK time, in real life it's silly o'clock in the morning in Memphis, so no one would be on anyway. I'm going to get the APU power on, start up the APU. Let's get a little bit of thrust going. I misjudged that turn. Beautifully down. Let's get GSX on the go, and we'll select a terminal. Not terminal, sorry. We'll select the stand there, and we'll go nope. You won't be able to see that because it's on my other monitor. But Marshall has been dispatched to your area. Let's go outside and have a look at this monster, shall we? Such a gorgeous aeroplane. Look at that. Can't tell me that's not the best looking aeroplane ever made. Unbelievable. Right, let's concentrate on taxiing, making sure we're on the centre line. And we'll clean up the MCP a little bit for the next crew that are going to take it somewhere else. Hopefully in real life soon, the real MD-11 start flying again. It'd be nice to see them back in the air after the accident. I believe FedEx said they're looking in early spring, aren't they? So when's that? March. So hopefully by March, when all the sprockets and everything's been checked on the engines and they've had upgrades, this beautiful aeroplane will be able to fly again. So we're going via that point, and then I've just picked the closest large stand so we don't have to taxi all day. Assuming we don't need, I don't know when they would turn that ignition off, or would it stay on at all times? I don't really know. It doesn't say in the checklist or manual that I'm reading anything about whether it would work. What's that clicking noise? What am I clicking? I'm clicking somewhere. I'm not touched anything. Oh, it's the, I know what it is. It's the button on my throttles. I was leaning on it. Right, so across this runway here, we'll get the high intensity back on. And then we'll swing it right and down, and our parking gate should be somewhere on the left hand side shortly. Keep adding that thrust. That's a little bit better of a turn. I'm getting used to how much thrust and how much tiller you need to get around these corners. The airplane is quite forgiving, it keeps its inertia up, but sometimes, especially like when we're in Anchorage where the terrain's uneven, it does get a little bit funny. This scenery is actually good. It's quite nice. It's Memphis, Tennessee by Glide Select Pro, I believe. However, when buying their sceneries, I'd be very careful in which ones you pick. This is probably one of their best, if not the best. The rest of their sceneries are pretty poor, and they've been involved in some dodgy behaviour, let's say. So I purchased this on the Flight Sim store page, Microsoft Flight Simulator store page, and I just ported it over So it's pretty good for me. I don't know if there was an upgrade for you, I can't remember. But yeah, it's just be careful when you're buying glide slope. But I think they've changed their name as well. I think it used to be BM World AM Sim. Or am I thinking of someone else? But anyway, just be careful. But this Memphis scenery is okay. So like I said, it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. And it's quite good on performance, actually. I don't get much performance loss when here. APU power's on. Get the runway turn-offs off as we're pulling into the ramp area. I'd like to hear some more ground noises. I think that's the only thing that this aeroplane's missing, like some, you know, that you'd hear in the 7.3 with the Boris Audio Works sound pack where it goes like dudung 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 over the lights, or some wheel scraping, because the sounds are really good. It's just missing a little bit of ambience like you'd hear in a real plane. Like in real life, taxiways aren't even, so especially when you're on the 7.3 at the front, you hear like every little groove over that nose wheel. And I'm assuming it'd be the same on this aeroplane because the wheel is, it's just below us, isn't it? So there is our stand there with everyone waiting for us patiently as I've been taxiing like a grandma slowly. So we'll get ready to swing it. Let's see how good my parking is today. It's been pretty poor recently, actually. Need to get slightly better with my parking, especially in this thing. So start turning a little bit early and give it a little bit more thrust. And taxi light can come off. We don't want to blind the ground crew, do we? It's looking good so far. And that looks pretty good to me. Swing it over a little bit more. Perfect, right. Slowly does it. Keep it coming. Add a little bit more thrust. I've let it die again. Come on. Come on, you know you want to. And that looks pretty good there, so we will set the parking brake, engine 1, 2, 3 off, beacon light off, and seatbelt sign off. Welcome down to Memphis. So guys, welcome down to Memphis. Hope you enjoyed that MD-11 long haul as much as I did. The TFDi MD-11 is really rubbing off on me. It's becoming one of my, if not my favourite plane in 2024 at the moment, and the year has got off to a great start with the 737-800 by PMDG coming out and the TFDi MD-11. Hopefully soon there's more on the way with the likes of the Aerosoft Solis A340, the A321 and 20 Neo by Phoenix, and much more very close on the horizon. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Please let me know how you're finding the TFDi MD-11. If you're struggling with handling the aeroplane, please jump over to my tutorial video where I show you how to set up an aeroplane and fly a to B service onto an ILS. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.